What is my ideal vision for my life? Welcome to Remind Us. My name is Aiden. Tonight, I was talking to somebody on a dating site, and that person had to go to bed. And before the conversation ended, I said, you know what? Ask me a deep question, and I will make tonight's YouTube video about that. And sure enough, she indulged me. That was the question that she had sent. Tell her about my ideal vision for my life. I kind of want to go back in time for 1 second here and say, when I grew up in Belgium, we have an expression and it goes like this: Belgians are born with a brick in the stomach. What that means essentially is that Belgians, from an early age, they seem to want to build their own house. Like they're already imagining it, fantasizing it, like they want to build a house at some point in their life when they get older as an adult. I fell for that same trap, I think. you know, we all grow up and we say, oh, a family, a house, a car, and a good job. That's what we should look forward to when we're growing older. And I followed the status quo. I did all of these things too. I went to school, I graduated, got a full time job. I didn't buy a house, but I was looking for it. I was actually wondering how on earth does anybody afford that? We're talking 20 years ago, and even then, I couldn't see how anybody could afford building or buying or even renting a place. So I lived with my mom until I was 21. But I always had to drive too to move out. And I remember when I was younger, I always felt like I wanted to be a nomad, somebody who has no real home, no location that they call home, and wherever they are, they essentially are home. Back then, I didn't understand it, but now, if I had to put that in different words, I would say this body is my home. For people that are homesick easily, that might actually be some great advice. If you're leaving your house and you go out of town and you quickly find yourself homesick, you're probably attached to your safe space that you call home. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you actually want to travel and learn to enjoy that, a good way would be to reconsider maybe what is home. For me, it's just my body now. All my belongings, including my home. Yes, I own a house now. It's it's good to have. It's obviously the place that I come home to and relax after work. But now that I'm 38, I am asking myself, is this really something I wanted? And if I did want it, why? What was I hoping to have by having these things? So, younger, I had the idea of being a nomad, somebody with travels. And when I was younger, I didn't have a career, obviously. I mean, I just graduated, and yes, I worked a job, but I wasn't attached yet to the job. In other words, if I got in trouble, I didn't feel alarmed, as in, oh God, I can't afford my bills if I lose my job, because I had no bills yet at the time. So you see, losing my job felt totally fine and optional, and hey, so be it kind of attitude. And I realized once I bought a house, once I got a car loan, suddenly all of that changed. And I think that is true for all of us. And I think young people are struggling with that now. I notice more and more that young people that graduate school, they suddenly find themselves very lost. They don't know what they want to do with their life. I knew what I wanted back then. I wanted to see the whole world, and oddly enough, no particular location. Almost wherever the wind blows, that's where I want to go. Like a sailboat, essentially. My ideal life. So you see, when I was younger, it seemed that my ideal life was to achieve a good full-time paying job, a nice house that I always dreamed of having, a family, a car, maybe two cars. And now, 20 years later, I have all these things. I've had them for about hmm, 15 years. I've been married twice and I've divorced twice. So occasionally I find myself asking the question, why did I want these things? And did I actually ever really want them? Or did I just get the idea from somebody else and said, oh, yes, this is what life is. And until I achieve these things, I'm just a lost cause or a lost person or, somebody with no goals in their life. And I often question, did I fall in some sort of a trap that I didn't follow my dream and just wandered around? And I know wandering sounds like a strange, statement or description, maybe a strange description. But adventure to me is kind of wandering. Traveling, that is a planned goal, a planned destination. Adventure to me, it's kind of like wherever the road takes you. So there is no real plan. You just go and make up things as you're moving along. That always appealed to me when I was younger. And now, again, I'm 38. I have all the things that most of us try to achieve. I'm still working on paying off my mortgage, but that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make is this really what I wanted all my life? And honestly, I'm not sure anymore. Am I enjoying what I have? Yes. Do I want this? I'm not sure. Do I need this? Also, not sure. My ideal life would be a life of freedom. And I don't mean in the sense of I don't want to be in jail. I really mean freedom in the sense of if somehow suddenly I get some crazy idea, I don't want to be held back by obligations, maybe. Like, when you have when you're married and you have kids, you just don't drop everything and go on a whim, whatever the whim may be. You got to consider everybody else. You probably have a job that is your income that you live on. If you just up and go, you'll probably have to do the same with your job. You have to quit it essentially or give it up. Do you have enough money saved to survive without a job for a few months, maybe years? I don't know. I found myself thinking about these questions a lot lately. What if I sold everything? How much money would I have? And how far would that money get me? And then some other part of myself has questioned, okay, we now live in a world where many things can be done online. What if I sold everything and bought a sailboat instead? I love water. I love being on my own for long stretches of time, like, yes, weeks, sometimes months. Like, usually, I like living in areas that have all the climates, and usually, come late fall and definitely winter, for some weird reason, those have always been times that I spend the most by myself. I don't want to say I am miserable during these months, but if you look at the animal world, most animals are hibernating in the winter. They are resting, they are hiding. I think it's somewhere along those lines that I feel too. Like, I don't feel the need to interact with other people. I don't feel the need for entertainment. It's almost like I'm inner reflecting in the colder and shorter daylight months. And it sounds depressing, but to me, it's a way of keeping a balance. Like spring and summer and even early fall, maybe late winter. Yes, I am more active. Yes, I like being around people, but I also like my downtime. So a sailboat seemed really like a great idea, and I'm still pondering the idea even to this day because it would allow me to wander and take my house essentially with me everywhere I go. Obviously, the sailboat would be my house, but when you have a house, your job is most likely within driving distance from your home. So if I were to get a sailboat, I would be all over the place. So my job would essentially have to come with me. I haven't quite figured out yet how I could make money if I lived, do I want to say off the grid, or at the very least not in a steady location. For a while I was hoping if I made a YouTube channel and help other people, I could monetize it maybe, and that would become somewhat of an income. I thought about the stock market even, like okay, if I have a sailboat, maybe I can do like day trading. But in that case, I don't know if I can say trading and gambling are the same thing. But yeah, some part of me feels like if I were to throw all my money in the stock market for day trading, at least, I'm not saying just buying stock and leaving it alone until retirement is bad, but day trading, it comes with its own risk. And yes, I took a course in day trading to see if it is something that could work for me. Mm, was it exciting? Sure, but the risk is equally there. So I stopped doing it. Like I'll just say I dabbled in it for about maybe a month. Not with a lot of money either. Like with $100, I just gave it a try to see what happens. But again, I was trying to see if this is something I could do if I were to live on a sailboat. So does my ideal life involve marriage? Honestly, the answer to that is already no. Like plain and simple. I've been married twice, I divorced twice, and to me, marriage is not a bad thing, but feeling free is much bigger to me. Feeling at peace, feeling that I can always be myself no matter what that person is. Yes, me, who am I? Like, am I who my spouse wants me to be? Am I who my daughter wants me to be? Like, I am strangely very focused on who do I want to be? What do I want to do with my life? So, the two marriages that I had, they weren't bad. I mean, each had its own perks, if you will. But over my whole life, including those two marriages, like I've been in probably two, maybe three dozen other relations too. I noticed something very peculiar. I'm thinking of a quote from my teacher again. This is a teacher from high school. He said, "Women, you can't live with them and you can't live without them." He said that statement often, and he was a great teacher. He was very humorous. He wasn't afraid to bring his personal life into the classroom, and not the drama, just life lessons that he learned essentially. You see, and it always made me inner reflect. Like, okay, I'm not married, but I kind of hear this guy's words. You know, it stuck with me. Woman, you can't live with them. You can't live without them. And I noticed that every time I was in a relation, I was happy for like a few weeks, maybe a few months, and then it's not that I lost interest, but the novelty wore off pretty quick. And I always thought that was strange. And strangely, when a relation begins, it seems like we are all on cloud nine. We don't see each other's little mistakes. And what happens as time goes by, this honeymoon phase or the butterfly period, it slowly wears off and we start to notice each other's little flaws. We start to complain about one another. This is normal. I think just about every relation goes through that, but I took the time to analyze that. Like, yeah, why is that? And does that make your partner a bad person when the novelty wears off? No. I think what actually disappears is the curiosity. We humans are very curious beings. We're always chasing for new things. So when you have a partner and you declare a relation, the novelty sooner or later is going to wear off, and therefore the curiosity too. As a matter of fact, things become very predictable. You pretty much know what your partner likes and doesn't like. You know how they're going to respond to the things that you say. And in a way that is good, it means you care for your partner because you've paid enough attention to know what they're about, what do they like, what do they don't like. And at the same time, I noticed I slowly lost a life within me. Like, I don't know, life within me. Is that the right thing to say? I felt I was slowly dying almost and becoming slightly miserable, maybe. Like, wow, this is difficult to explain. um, yeah, it's something I observed after my two marriages. I can care for everybody that I have ever had any relation with, including friends. And for those of you who know me a little bit, I don't keep many friends at all. I don't care to know these people that I've said hi to once or twice, in my life. I cannot consider that friends. To me, friends, they know me personal and very, very well. I can probably count those people on one, maybe two hands, 10 fingers. That's not a lot of people, but I kind of shedded everybody that is of no value to me. Like, and it all came from that inner reflecting. Like, what are relations? And when we speak relations, we tend to think of our significant other, our spouse, our partner. But I think friendship is a relation. Your parents is a relation. Your children are a relation. So even in all of these cases, that same concept seemed to keep coming back. The novelty wears off. I continue caring for this person, for these people, but I'm slowly starting to question what do I want with myself? What makes me happy? So my ideal life, because am I veering off topic? I don't know. I said early on I was talking to somebody from a dating site, and that was the question that was posed to me, and that's why I'm making this video. So my ideal life right now, if it is not a sailboat where I work from a laptop in the middle of the ocean, hopefully satellite internet, I don't know. Um, that is one scenario that I have dreamed up. I also, I kind of said it earlier, I love silence, like winter. I use that silence to come back to peace, come back to get to know myself, make sure I didn't lose myself through whatever may have happened. Coworker and an accident, maybe I had to pay a huge bill and I got really stressed out because of it. Winter, I just use that time to inner reflect. just to make sure I still have myself in check. So a sailboat, working on a sailboat, and maybe with a partner would be nice, right? Someone that has the same values in life as I do. So what are these values? Maybe should I touch on that a little bit? I now learn to enjoy the freedom of people. I have called this unconditional love in another video. I remember I said that, but people are different when they are cared for, but they are not limited. So that is what I am now learning to enjoy. As of 2 years ago, I gave polyamory a try, and I looked up the definition of polyamory. It flat out says multiple sex partners. Essentially, I'm not against that term. I'm sorry, I'm not against the definition of that term, but that's almost the same as friends with benefits, essentially, and that's not right for me. I really feel like I am a unconditional loving person, regardless what the relation is. So, in a way, I've been in enough relations to know that when I'm in them, I'm unhappy, but when I'm not in a relation, I'm unhappy too. So naturally, I had to start looking for, okay, what is the balance between these two? What is the middle road between being single and being in a relation? Did I figure out poly is the answer? No, not really. I learned that unconditional loving is the answer for me. And I'm not going to say um, that polyamory is the correct answer for me. I'm actually going to say at this point in my life, that is what I am exploring. That's the word I'm going to use, exploring. I want to give you an analogy here. Maybe it makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't. When you go out in nature and you see cute bunnies or even a wild cat, maybe, we humans have a tendency, oh my god, that's so cute, I want to have it. If you manage to catch that animal, actually, let me stick with the free animal for a minute. What happens in nature? You see that animal being itself. You see it chasing birds and running in the fields, and it's having the time of its life. If you can manage to catch this animal, put it in a cage, and bring it home, and now you let it walk around in your house all day because it made you happy when you saw it in the field. You bring it home, and what happens slowly? That animal dies inside. It has no idea why it is suddenly in a limited terrain. In a limited terrain that it had never had to deal with before. It was always out in the wild where the whole world was essentially open to this animal. Somehow I noticed people do similar things. When we go out dating, we're having fun because the person you're talking to is a free person. He's not too worried about stepping on your feelings, not too worried about saying the wrong thing, doesn't care too much what he's wearing, what she's wearing. You see, you are completely yourself because you're not really worried about the opinion of somebody else, your partner. What happens the minute you get in a relation? You suddenly start to dress the way the other person wants. You start to behave in a way that you know the other person appreciates. Again, not a bad thing. But how much of you is still you by the time this process has happened for like a few months? You see what I mean? You slowly become different. I'm not saying worse, just different. And I felt over time that difference also included I slowly felt like I was losing myself and some part of me was dying. I think that part would best be described as my free spirit, maybe. Not sure. But that is what I wanted to avoid. And is poly the answer? Again, I don't know. But I now appreciate when my partner is happy, even if I am not the reason why they're happy. What am I saying? Generally, when we're in a relation and we observe somebody else making our partner happy, even if just for a moment, like they flirted, your partner enjoyed it, they were happy, very often you're gonna have some sort of jealous inner feeling. You might even have an external reaction. You might ask your partner, like, what was that about? You see, before you know it, you're in an argument over what? Your partner was happy for a minute. And here you're acting all possessive as if you were about to lose something, as if you're no longer any good. So that is what I observed. And I did an experiment on myself, essentially. I knew what it was. It was jealousy. That's all of us have that in us. A little bit, a lot, controllable, uncontrollable. But I realized what a negative trait jealousy is. Jealousy is the box that we put our partner in. And it is not necessarily that we don't want our partner to be happy. It seems that we perceive it as a problem when somebody else makes our partner happy. We seem to see that they make our partner happier than we are. And that's where our insecurity and our jealousy gets triggered through the roof, and shit hits the fan. It's been a few years now, but I was in a relation with somebody, and somehow I observed a guy was flirting with her, but in a very innocent manner. And I knew back then my ego was already ready to, go in fight or flight mode. And my new way of thinking quickly took over. And I'm like, hang on one second. I love this person. I want this person to be happy. Let's see what happens if I do nothing at all and just enjoy this. That was the weirdest moment in my life. Like, I really had this inner debate for just 5 seconds as I'm observing this scene. And I'll tell you what, this was happening about 30, 40 feet away from me. So, yes, I could have easily walked forward for just 5 seconds and interfered, but I'm like, no, you know what? I want my partner to be happy. I'm going to see what happens. If somebody flirts with her, it makes her feel good. Am I actually in danger here? Is our relation in jeopardy? Let's see what happens. And lo and behold, nothing bad happened whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it seems my partner appreciated me 10 times more for letting that happen. Weird, right? So back then, my life was still a monogamous life. And yet, when I realized what I just did there, something changed in me. Something came loose, came undone, wanted to be investigated. I don't know, but I took a lot of time taking that one example that happened and dissected the crap out of it. Like, really, I wanted to know, why did I suddenly make that choice? And why did I feel so good afterwards? And I finally realized that every time we get in a relation, we are limiting our partner because we don't want our feelings to hurt. We don't want our partner to hurt our feelings either, because that would be a double whammy. So we make sure our partner doesn't do anything, doesn't enjoy anything that doesn't involve us. So I'm veering quite a bit away from what is my ideal life, but I kind of wanted to touch on that because that is where my life took a very hard turn to really start appreciating people different. And when I say different, in my personal opinion, it seemed to be not only different but better too. Every time I feel limited or I have to think twice before I do something, I'm not talking about stupid things, but say I'm having a good time and there happens to be a woman near me and I want to give her a compliment. I shouldn't have to worry like, oh God, can my partner hear this? And is she gonna like it? Will she mind if I just compliment this person about their hair or what they're wearing that I'm enjoying, that it looks good on her? You see, these are the things that we suddenly are afraid of expressing. I mean, that's just one example, but you see what I mean? We are suddenly not ourselves because we're afraid we're gonna hurt our partner. And let's face it, who does not enjoy a compliment? Who does enjoy it when their partner has an extreme jealous reaction to that situation? Nobody. I mean, unless you like a lot of drama, I don't, but nobody likes the drama. Nobody likes the jealousy. And yet it's something we all seem to punch and kick and scream through as if it's normal. That's something else I realized. Like, why is this normal? This should not be normal. My ideal life is I just want to live a simple life. If I'm not getting the sailboat, I'm happy where I live now. I have one cat. Yes, a cat. That's all I got here. The only living thing that shares my house with me. And it's a big house. This actually is the house that I had when I got married for the second time. She moved in here, so after the marriage, this was still my property and they moved back out. But it's a big house because of that. And yet I haven't felt the need to sell it because it's close to the city, close to, I don't want to say the country, but yeah, it's in a very quiet part of town, and I enjoy that. I always like to be near the conveniences, like the grocery store, the Home Depot, you name it. Also, I wanted to be close to work, so commuting is very little wasted time for me and wasted gas. So I want to live a simple life where I can be myself, come home without having to worry about somebody else needing my instant attention. I'm not saying I don't like giving my attention. Oh my goodness, I love good conversation. I love company. But when I come home from work, I like to unwind first before anything else. This could be from as simple as go sit on my back porch with a cigarette and just stare out into the nothingness. It's a form of meditation for me. That is how I just quiet my mind, keep it peaceful in there. A bit of a zen moment, if you will. So that's what I enjoy doing after I come home from work. And from there, I really don't suddenly go all crazy and adventurous. I keep my life still pretty simple. I might play a video game, I might watch a movie, I might actually cook myself dinner if I haven't eaten at work, that is. I might even work out. So you see, if I were to find a person to share that with, I think I want them to be on the same wavelength as myself. I want them to know what they enjoy in life. I want them to feel like they'll never have to give up any of it, even if it might hurt my feelings a little, a lot. Don't care. If I know what you're doing is making you happy, I am no longer standing in anybody's way with my feelings to stop them from exploring what makes them happy. And I don't mention it often because it's a bit of a private topic, but I'm into BDSM. Yes, I have been all my life, ever since I was a child, surprisingly. I never figured out why I enjoyed BDSM, but I do. I can't recall anywhere where I might have picked it up. This was literally in my head before I knew what sex even was. Yes, I am not exaggerating. So I would like to have people in my life that enjoy living in their own freedoms, that enjoy taking responsibility for their own life. You know, you work your own job, take care of whatever chores you have, pay your own bills. But when you want to enjoy something with somebody, you can just go and do that without having to, explain yourself to me essentially. Um, I do love very open and honest and forward communication, but not in the sense of I want to keep an eye on you, more in the sense of I want to feel maybe that not that I was part of your adventure, but more of a I want to hear about your adventure. So I kind of feel like I experienced it too, maybe. That's weird. That's how to explain that. You see, I am not prodding what you did, who you did it with, how long, why. I really just want to know. Okay, you just had a live experience. Tell me about it. Simple as that. Tell me a story about the thing you experienced today. And I enjoy being that person for other people too. I was just talking about BDSM, like about bondage. Bondage to me is it's fun. It's relaxing. It is exotic, erotic, many things, and I enjoy giving that experience to people because I don't know if I want to say I enjoy their vulnerable state. Maybe what's more correct to say is people seem to be no longer willing to be even a little bit vulnerable to enjoy or try something new. Um, and BDSM is one of these things. Most people have fantasized it, even if in the most mildest form. Just fantasize about having been tied up or something, even in a playful way, like cowboy and Indian kind of thing. When you were a kid, I don't know, but I enjoy that regardless. I enjoy that it puts me in a very deep connection with that person, even if it's just for those few hours, because it is a rare state to find yourself in. And for me, I just enjoy getting to know a person that deep and truly. I can't say you can't hide yourself when you're naked, essentially wrapped up in ropes, but there is just something about that you are not going to find in, the average social setting. Most people just want to talk about shallow, silly, stories and gossiping like politics, sports. I just don't care for all these things. I really crave and enjoy deep conversations that have meaning behind them. Like, what have you struggled with in your life and how did you come out of it? What did you learn from it? Like, those are the real things that I want to talk about. And again, almost nobody can do that anymore. This is also partially why I made my YouTube channel. If talking is so difficult for people, I'm okay just talking to my camera and my microphone. And if it helps somebody along the way, beautiful. That's what we're all here for. If you ask me, helping each other out. But the world where people are just open about themselves is seemingly slowly dying or disappearing. We're all on social media, and you would think we're now more social than ever. I cannot agree to that. I feel we are now more shallow than ever. We don't talk about meaningful things anymore. We're just gossiping, whining, nagging, complaining, judging. Like, you see, like, we're not really getting to know people anymore. We're just judging and whining about what we see and do. I'm not interested. Simply as that. It's drama. I'm sorry. That's all can say about it. It feels like drama to me, and I don't want to participate in it. Like, every time I open Facebook or something, all I see is things that I can't relate to at all anymore. It's a little bit depressing to me because I like good conversation, but at the same time, I just remind myself I'm on my own. There's nothing to worry about. I am fine on my own. I'm great on my own. I just go and do my job. I come home in the evening. I might sit outside with my cat for a little bit, might clean out my pool. Quite often, well, not often maybe, but in the summer at least, I will just go out in the dark and lay in my pool and just meditate while I'm floating with a noodle under my back so I don't drown, essentially. But I enjoy that. It's so peaceful, it's so calm. And I have to ask myself, what could be better than this peace and calm feeling? As soon as another person is involved, it's not often you can still say you feel calm and peaceful inside. You feel like you need to entertain that person. You feel like you need to carry on a conversation. You feel like you need to do things to be nice, do things to validate the time you have together. And yes, all these things are true, but can you appreciate being by yourself at all? So, yeah, it's um I looked at that quite for a long time. Like, it's another quote, like, only speak if what you're about to say is more beautiful than silence. I mean, I don't often say that I'm a meditator because I just don't sit down anywhere in a lotus position. My life itself has become somewhat of a meditation. Like, everything I do, I try to do it in a thoughtful manner. So even when I am in silence by myself, whether it's floating in the pool or who knows, playing Call of Duty, even, I essentially do that alone by myself. Yes, I'm playing with other people online, but I don't even use the microphone to talk with the people that I'm playing with or against. It's all me time. Same thing for reading a book. I can just read, suddenly stop reading, grab a marker, mark out some stuff that really stood out, and then with the book between my fingers, just reminisce on whatever I just read, or try to comprehend it better, or just think about it deeper than what the book is even suggesting. Like, really integrate what I just read, especially if it's some really profound material that is educational, mind opening, mind enriching, perhaps. I love books like that. That's the material that I go for the most. So, people that really truly appreciate life and don't constantly need to be entertained by another person are the people I enjoy the most. People not afraid to show or maybe share their vulnerabilities. And I get it. We live in a world where people seem to want to exploit us left and right. And what's the best way to exploit a person? By their weaknesses. I understand that. We should all be careful what we say, whom we say that to. But like I said, I am not interested in drama. I am not interested in backstabbing. I am definitely not interested in making somebody feel less than ideal, less than what they felt before they were talking to me. You see, if you are willing to talk a little bit deeper about your own personal problems, we can find, together we can brainstorm up solutions on wow, yeah, that's I've struggled with that too. Like, how could we actually improve that? Like, what could we do to make that better in our lives? You see, that is why I enjoy the deeper conversations, and yes, they're difficult to find. My ideal life. I continue living the way that I am. I work my full-time job. I continue paying my mortgage, work on my car every now and then if something's wrong to it, change the oil, change the brake, whatever. And I enjoy company from people at first. Yes, absolutely. Get to know you, everything about you until we are very comfortable with each other. But after that, this is something um another partner of mine actually, it's a quote directly from her. She says, I enjoy just existing together. When I heard that statement for the first time, I just laughed. Not because it was ridiculous, but because wow, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Just being in each other's presence without having to say a word, without having to do a thing. You know, you read a book, I'll play my video game, and it's not like we're acting like we don't exist. Not at all. We're being very kind and loving towards each other. But the need to entertain the other, the need to carry on conversation while nobody really has anything to say, all these stresses are gone. We're just enjoying being in each other's presence. And if I could do bondage with new people like that, some BDSM, whatever you want to explore, oh my god, that's something I really really love. It's rare that that happens, but when it does, my goodness, I appreciate it like nobody else I've ever met. Like, so yeah, live my life the way it is for now. Continue doing my full time job. Come home with my cat, relax, meditate, give myself some time to digest my thoughts, to digest my day. Um, I don't want to say reminisce on life anymore because I've done that about 10 years ago, and that is really where my whole way of thinking changed slowly and over time. I really wanted to know, who am I? Who is the one that is thinking? Who is the one that experiences life? Those are some really deep questions, right? Who is the I behind the I? Who is the observer of me? Who's recording my life essentially? Like who does it matter to what I do? Like, these weird questions. I went through all of those like 10 years ago, and every now and then I still do, but I feel my life now is a meditation on its own. And if I'm letting other people in my life, if they are not in that same peaceful state, I really want to get a feel that they are genuinely trying to achieve that inner peace, inner strength, inner motivation, like all of these things. I really appreciate people that try to find themselves. And I love talking to them. I love helping to them. Again, this YouTube channel came into existence because of that, essentially. I took the time to get to know myself. I spent time without relations for a few years to make sure I knew who I was, what I do when there is nobody around, what I enjoy when nobody is around. So, yeah, my ideal life, it's me having my own freedoms, almost like a single person, and yet having people that I truly deeply care about to have some really good life experiences with, and they do not have to be on a daily basis. That doesn't have to be a 24/7, 365 relation. You know, when it's our time to spend time together, we do it with full attention. When you go home to your full-time job, taking care of your partner, taking care of your kids or your partner, whichever, maybe it's both. I want you to have your own life too. I don't want someone to become fully dependent on me again, and I don't want to ever depend on somebody completely again. Those are beautiful things too, but I find my best stability comes if I stay true to myself. And not many people are capable of, I don't know, like I keep calling it unconditional love. It's so easy to say to a person, I love you, but it almost feels often when I hear that, it seems like that is an unfinished statement. I love you as long as you're loyal to me. I love you until you cheat on me. I love you until you come home late from work one night. I should put that in quotations, late from work. Like, where were you really? You see, it seems like when we say I love you, it's a very unfinished statement because I love you is essentially an unconditional statement. But let's face it, the second something happens, that I love you quickly becomes something else. Like, I love you and now you're irritating me. So, get out of my sight. Don't talk to me. Don't come near me. I don't want that anymore. I really want to enjoy time with free souls. We have good experiences together. And when it's time to go home to take care of our jobs, our bills, whatever, we go and do that. I'm not going to interfere with your life. Whatever you know that works best for you is what I would want you to keep doing. I want you to be happy with you. And if I can add something to that occasionally, like if us spending time together occasionally is good too, I would love to do that. Maybe on a final side note is I have become much more spiritual in my life. Again, I don't sit down and meditate, but I am very fascinated with certain aspects that are very difficult to learn. I'll give you a silly example: astral projection, energy healing, reading the Akashic records. I am highly interested in all of these things, but it would require intense meditation. I am not going to crawl in a cave and meditate for 10 years until I'm an old person or until death, maybe. But I have entertained that thought at the same time. So you see that inner peace, no matter what goes on around me, who's in my life, what kind of relations are coming and going, that inner peace is actually the most important thing to me. I'm never giving that up again. I am never letting anybody talk me out of it. So these are side notes that are big in me, but they don't necessarily require a partner. And at the same time, yes, I think I would highly enjoy somebody that is strongly looking to improve these qualities too. Like, who wouldn't want to be able to heal a person simply by laying your hands on them and say a positive statement like, you know, you are going to be healthy, bam, and this person starts to feel better. This is a form of energy healing, and that fascinates me. I want to learn more about it. I want to practice it. It would be great if I had a partner for that too. But again, this is a field not many people are interested in, and you know, I'm not one to be going on dating sites to find something very, very specific at all. I'm just a curious person, really. I will go on dating sites and see what comes out. Essentially, the only thing that I will look after is, are you going to limit me? Again, something that I am not looking for. Can I add to your life? Can you add to mine? Can we do amazing and fun things together? Forget the jealousy, forget the possessiveness, forget the looking over your shoulder, over my shoulder. These are the qualities that I just no longer desire. So I don't know if I explained my ideal life there, but I think that kind of says it more or less, right? I want a very simple life where I don't have to worry essentially about anything at all. Really, I can just be happy, be myself, help any person that I can, whenever somebody needs my help. These are things that I just enjoy naturally, and like I said, I don't think I'm ever giving them up again. So I think that was my video for tonight. Maybe I might add more to this. What's my ideal life in the future? Who knows? But if you enjoyed the talk and you want to ask me questions, if you would like me to make a video on a particular subject you would like to hear about, feel free to leave it in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers for now. That is my first bar that I have set. And like my videos so they get suggested more on YouTube. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.